Good evening. Welcome back. Welcome to day two. So excited for you to be here. I want you to do what we always do. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. Say a yes in the chat if you can hear me, just to make sure, y'all. You know me and tech. Let's see those yeses in the chat if you can hear me. So I know we are live and popping. There. Welcome back. And I am so proud of you. If this is day two for you, if you're joining us today, welcome to our inner circle. Uh, the accelerator group is on here today. And so I just want to give a shout out to the phenomenal women on here today. Today, we're just going to do a quick recap of what we did yesterday. And then I'm going to ask you all about the shifts that you felt yesterday from your homework. If you are just joining us from another platform, we're the Change My Life Challenge. This is day two. If you go to changemylifechallenge.com, you can join us on Zoom. We're going to do a real quick recap. If you remember yesterday, we talked about some of the incredible parts of womanhood, and we talked about carrying a lot. The kids, the home, the work, the bills, sometimes the marriage. We talked about how these things are sometimes the pressures behind your hormones getting disrupted, sometimes behind your blood pressure, and sometimes just behind feeling tired. Okay. We also talked about the things that you're carrying versus what is carrying you. So the things from the past, and as you can see, this woman, she is empty now. She's running on E. And I know a lot of you said you were just exhausted, you were tired, you want to thrive, you want to live again. You don't want to feel like this anymore. And Joelle touched on something important. You want to recap that one?
Absolutely. We talked about how, in my experience as an ER nurse, the trauma bay was the great equalizer of everyone.
Yeah.
Didn't matter how much money was in your bank account, didn't matter how much time you had bought back. Maybe you were retired, you had all this money saved up. But in the ER trauma bay, I saw it on so many people's faces that health was the foundation to everything else. Without health, nothing else mattered.
So good, so good. And then health gives access to life. We've seen your responses, we've loved your responses, family, grandkids, your whys, why you're doing this, for your purpose, for that unlived ministry, for your joy, for your work, for your marriage, for traveling, for reduced stress, for those symptoms to go away, for those numbers to finally drop, to get off some of those medications. These are some of your whys, and they're well celebrated. And we decided that you're starting small, and no one here is starting from zero. So if you are ready for tonight, once again, I'd love, 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 love to welcome the accelerator group. We've got our coaching group here. It's a group of phenomenal women, and we're going to deep dive today on our topic, which is connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. Change the pattern, change what's possible. Whatever you repeat is what your body responds to. So, the why behind some of your symptoms.
So, to start off with,
Mm.
a story that you're all familiar with. It was a cold, wintry night, and the ship was sailing through the Atlantic. And in that ship was tons of important people, rich people. This was the Virgin ship trail of this ship, and it was going in the ocean for the first time. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. So when it hit that iceberg, we all know the story of the Titanic. As it hit that iceberg, one of the problems that caused that accident was that the ship captain only paid attention to the very top of that iceberg. the very top of that iceberg. And history shows that most of that iceberg was underneath the water. And
Mm.
that's what caused the demise of the Titanic. In a similar fashion, what we're talking about tonight is the fact that underneath all of your illnesses, whatever you're struggling with, whether
Mhm.
it's stress, whether it's diabetes, whether it's high blood pressure, hormonal dysfunction,
Mhm.
whatever your problem is, what generally is being treated by prescriptions is just that small tip above the water. So we're talking about four things that are the foundational structure to your illnesses, anything that is bothering your health. And the first thing we want to talk about is what your prescription does address, and that is your symptoms. Share this again. There we go. All right. So symptoms is a dot. That is not the whole story, though. I often tell the example, and we told this last night about the kitchen on fire.
Mm.
The kitchen on fire and the alarms going off.
Mhm.
The alarm is not the enemy. The alarm is there to reveal a deeper problem. And so our symptoms are the same way. They are not the problem we need to address.
Yeah.
It's just revealing something deeper that we need to uncover. So that is the first step, the symptoms. And what you repeat, your body responds to. So, when it comes to your symptoms and how you're responding to those symptoms, they often become a habit.
Yeah.
And you may have noticed that in your own life. Whenever you get a sniffly nose, there's a certain sequence of things that you just generally go to.
Mhm.
That maybe that's the decongestants. Some of you may try some herbal therapies,
Yeah.
but these become habits that that you end up repeating, and your body starts to respond to them. Sometimes the response is not the response you're looking for, though. And that's often the case, especially with prescriptions.
So ultimately, the goal is to change the patterns because when we change the patterns, we're going to change what's possible. And in today's experience, we're going to see what some of those patterns are. We're going to show you what it looks like when you start to change the patterns so that you change what's possible for your health. So, we're going to stick with this acronym here. I want you to write this down. And it's the acronym for the word sick. If you're feeling sick, these are some of these dots here that we're going to have to learn to connect so you can see where it's coming from and what's going on behind the covers, behind the symptoms. The first one is symptoms. And the I, that's for the S. S is for symptoms. The I is for inputs. C is for changes. And K is for knowledge. I'm going to let you all just look at this so you can write it and not miss out on it. Um, we've got symptoms here. All right. So we're going to dive into each each word here so you can learn and you can see just how this applies to your body. I'm going to drink some water, y'all.
All right.
Mm.
So, like I was saying, symptoms is the first one. And again, I like to use the word symptomology. It's maybe not a real word, but it's really how the healthcare system tends to deal with illness. So, you're all familiar with going to the doctor and you've expressed a symptom to them. And instead of really exploring a lot of the causes and underlying issues, there's a prescription pad that comes out.
Mhm.
And while that sometimes is what you're looking for to get rid of some of those symptoms, ultimately we all want to be healed. We all want to have that problem fixed at its core
Yeah.
issue. And so that's what these three other points are going to show you is that it's not just that top layer, it's not just that tip of the iceberg, like we said, which is symptoms. It's that underlying stuff, and that's what we're going to get into tonight.
All right, so who got their homework done? And I know some of you are just on here for tonight, but did anyone get their homework done? Put a me in the chat if you got your homework done. Anybody got some homework done last evening? Let me know. Put a me in the chat.
All right, that's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, are you starting to feel some shifts? Because it does not take a lot for you to start feeling the shifts in your body. And if you did your gratitude, you get bonus points. Bonus points for gratitude. I want you to draw 5 dots on your page. We're going to put just 5 randomly placed dots on your page. Leave some space between them because we're actually going to help you fill in every section of this word, the word sick. Just draw the random 5 dots. And one of the things I want you to do above each of the 5 dots, I want you to write 5 symptoms that are really bothering you. So it might be your belly fat, your high blood pressure, your sleep, your hair, your energy, um, diabetes. It could be anxiety, depression, aches and pains. I mean, yo, the list goes on. You've got digestive issues.
Even relationships,
Oh,
marital issues.
so good.
Yeah, emotional issues. Because a lot of emotions and things are chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be talking about that as well.
So these are actually related. Your symptoms are related, and you're going to see how they are related. But we're going to start to talk about each area of your life, and Joel is going to take you deeper to start uncovering some of the inputs, some of the changes, and some of the knowledge that you are lacking in order to get back to your thriving health.
Excellent, excellent. So this is kind of what your diagram should look like. The dots and how we're going to connect them to you. So one body has many signals. We talked about that, these symptoms and what we're trying to see beneath the surface. Okay. Now let's move to the eye about inputs. Okay. Inputs, the eye is what we're putting into our body as fuel primarily. Our
Mm-hmm.
bodies need to regenerate. Just like the car example we talked about yesterday, the car has an owner's manual.
Mm-hmm.
And when you follow that owner's manual correctly, every 50,000 miles, you got to change the oil. Every, 50 miles, you have to put more gas in your car. And the gas has to be the correct kind for that vehicle. If you put diesel in a Lexus, you're going to have some problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we all understand pretty well. But when it comes to our bodies, oftentimes we're a little bit off balance. We'll use that word because what we put into our body does one of two things. It either heals our body or it makes our body sicker. It
Wow.
requires energy to combat that input. Okay?
There's a famous quote, and it says it's by Heather. I think it's Heather Morgan. And she says, every time you eat, you're either feeding disease or starving it.
So good.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true. And so here's the part that I know a lot of people struggle with because about 80% of what you already need to know about inputs, you already know. 80% is already in your head. And it's that little voice that says, what I'm about to eat, probably shouldn't do, shouldn't eat. That's that voice just giving you a reminder that you already know what damages your body versus what heals your body. And so, a couple things that we're just going to touch on. We're not going to go very deep tonight, but we want to kind of give you an awareness of this idea is, food, stress. We talked about stress last night, light, sunlight. Sunlight is a very, very needed input, and some of us struggle with getting out. I know I
Mhm.
do sometimes, especially in the summer. It's hot, it's nice and cool inside, but sunlight on your skin is a much needed input that heals the body. Rest, getting
Oh.
8 hours of rest a
Mm-hmm.
night
Mm-hmm.
is very, very crucial. Less rest equals no healing, damaging to
Mm-hmm.
the system, in fact. Caffeine, we talked about that one. Movement, not moving enough is an input that is damaging to the system, primarily because movement's main purpose for you is not to get juicy muscles and all these things, it's to move blood. It's simply
Mm-hmm.
for circulation.
Mm.
Okay.
So, you know how you have those dots? Remember we drew those 5 dots and you have your some of your symptoms that you're not loving and you want them gone. You've got those 5 dots in a row. I want you to think about this list that he just gave you, and we're starting to fill it out, okay? You're going to see a pattern at the end. I want you to think about that list: the food, the rest, the water, the light, and take one of each that you know maybe you've not been so strong that you haven't been very intentional about drinking water. Place it under a symptom where it would belong. For example, if you have headaches on that list, water would be a good one over there.
Mm,
If you have high blood pressure on that list, stress has got to be under that,
yeah.
right under that dot. Can you give them a few examples? High blood
Sleep.
sugar. Oh,
Oh, sleep is
sleep.
a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I really like the word sleep hygiene,
Yeah.
because that incorporates a lot of practices that really help sleep. So things like getting off your devices an hour before you go to
Oh, that's
bed,
good. That's
making
good.
sure your room is dark
Mm-hmm.
when you sleep, making sure you haven't eaten a huge meal right before bed. This is all incorporated in sleep hygiene. So if sleep is your problem, sleep hygiene needs to be one of your focuses.
So, who here is thinking after hearing all these things, like, okay, I need help in at least one or more of these areas? I know it. You know, knowing health is not the same as living healthy. If that's you, just put a me in the chat. Be like, yeah, I know. Because remember, we're not here to beat on your head like, drink more water, go exercise. You know those things. So, if that's you, that's okay. That's why we're here. And that's why we're walking through these things so we can walk with you to start doing the things you already know.
Somebody yesterday mentioned the fear of not being consistent.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to these things, it almost seems boring to some of you. Like,
Mm,
wow, this is just so simple. It's almost boring. But really, it's these little things done consistently that make all the difference. And so that's what we're trying to introduce to you this week is how to adopt small, boring habits that are going to help change your entire health trajectory. Because you've tried the medicine, you've tried the fad diets, you've tried a lot of different things without doing often these simple things.
yeah. Yeah, so good. I was working with a woman once, you know, just like loosely church member, and one of her things was soda. And she drank tons and tons of sodas for years, barely drank any water. And she had a 275-day streak not drinking any sodas. And she started losing weight. She was feeling so good. She was so healthy. But here's something that happened. It was her birthday, she said, and she bought a bunch of soda for the guests who were coming. And she said not as many guests showed up as she expected, so she had a bunch of extra. And she was like, I don't want to waste it. It's my birthday, and I'm just going to have some. And that's how she fell back into the sodas. Here's what I say to women when I'm coaching. The first step we do is called emotional access because we're not looking for the habit, we're looking for the reason behind the habit. Why the sodas? There's a reason you're not drinking water. There may be a memory, a bad memory related to drinking water. There may be a childhood thing that comes up. There may be a good memory related to drinking the sodas, and so it's not, hey, stop drinking sodas. They're bad for you. Everybody knows that. It's stopping and pausing and asking yourself, what is it truthfully about the sodas? What's my story connected to the sodas? When you solve for the story, you get rid of the sodas. And unfortunately, a lot of health advisors and coaches and stuff, they're just like, get rid of the sodas, get rid of the sodas. And so, what do you do for some time? You do, and then boom, something happens, you're back on. And sometimes it's fries, like me. My thing is fries, not sodas. For some people, it's candy or chocolate. For some people, it's actually stress and toxic relationships and environments
Or the news.
or the news. It can be addicting to just be in a stressful mindset. So, knowing health is not the same as living health. This is not about knowing better. This is about finding out what are your inputs and what are your reasons behind those inputs. What's C?
C is changes, changes, the changes that your body went through. Some of you recently, some of you in the last um, 10, 12 years, right around the age of 40. Same woman or man, but
Mhm.
different conditions.
Yeah.
Different conditions. And we're right at that 40 mark, and we are seeing firsthand what those changes actually do. And a lot of us were not prepared for what was happening to our bodies. And we didn't even connect some of the changes,
Yeah.
both in our relationship, in our mindset, in our external environment, that all had to do with the hormonal changes going on inside of us.
So, what changes really after 40? Let's take a little bit of a deep dive here because I want to nerd out with you so you understand what your body is doing. When we talk about hormones, we have the puberty for a woman, then we have anything that happens after a child, and then we have perimenopause. You're hearing a lot about that these days. And then you've got menopause, and then there's this place called postmenopause. Each of those is a different woman. I was speaking to a woman today, and she said that right around 37, 39, she started noticing changes in her body. And it was like menopause hit her before 40. And she finally knew she needed to get help and ask for help when she was angry about an old woman walking in front of her. And she was like cussing in her head, like, this woman's moving too slow. She's like, there's something wrong with me. Why am I so angry? Why am I so irritable? Why are we arguing a lot in our marriage? Why can I not stand my children? These grandchildren are just irritating. And you're like, I'm not even that kind of person. I used to love everybody. What happened? Estrogen started dipping. Menopause happens, and then your progesterone gets thrown out of whack. What's progesterone? It's your happy hormone. It's what keeps you feeling light and sparky and energetic and feminine and flirty. Just a little perk to your personality. But once progesterone, which is like your mother hormone, starts to drop because it's released after ovulation, you start to feel miserable. In fact, I found that if you have low moods, depressive, anxiety, and you've had children in the past, you can actually connect the dots to your postpartum feelings to how you feel in perimenopause and menopause. You can connect those dots because some of that postpartum depression, postpartum blues never left. You're maybe in a culture where they don't actually show you how to care for your body after having babies, how to balance back. And so you're just kind of struggling from the same thing. And it just gets worse in perimenopause and it gets worse in menopause. And yes, it starts to affect your sleep. But here's the thing with sleep, it's a cycle. If your hormones are out of whack, you may go to sleep on time and beep, you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning. How many of you are just up for no reason at 2 or 3 in the morning? Just 2 or 3 in the morning, and just like, I went to bed on time. What's happening to me right now? Why is this? And then you went to bed tired, 2, 3 in the morning. You feel wired. You're like, I'm not energetic. I don't want to like go do stuff, but you might go do stuff. And then your body's like, hey, we're really useful at 2 or 3 in the morning. So now it's going to do that over and over again. These are the changes that just come from your hormone shifts. But your body is not supposed to have those drastic shifts. This is what our inputs are about. Our inputs changed our body. And we're going to do more of a deep dive on that tomorrow when we're finding your big three, your personal big three. I thought it was going to be today, but it's tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. So can you kind of see how two things? One, that symptoms are just the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
that your prescriptions, the pills you're on for all the different symptoms, that it's only addressing the S,
Girl, the
the
herbs too.
symptoms.
The
And the herb,
supplements
yeah,
too.
supplements are part of
A
that.
lot of times.
Supplements and things are oftentimes targeting symptoms, but that is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And the second thing that you notice is that your body didn't quit on you. The conditions changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not something that you have to feel like is hopeless,
Yeah.
that there is some things that can be done about that when conditions change. You can change
You can
conditions,
change them.
right?
Yeah.
Your body's not breaking down because it's aging or, there's nothing you can do about your genetics.
Mhm.
These are all conditions that changed.
Different does not mean doomed. Different does not mean doomed. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this 7 days, and we're gonna pick up, like we have to build the foundation so you don't crack when we take off, but that it's hope. I want you to know that you have hope and that you have power. You are the CEO of your health. You're the one in charge. You can make the changes to change your life, which will then change your income. It'll change your relationships, your marriage, your relationships with your children. It'll help you pass on a different kind of womanhood in your family. You will be the fire starter.
Yes, yes. So we've covered symptoms, we've covered inputs, we've
Mm-hmm.
covered changes.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are going to the K. The K. And the K is knowledge.
Oh, this is a big one.
Knowledge. This is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to spend some time here. Knowledge. So, like we talked about, oftentimes thoughts that have run through your mind, things your doctors have told you, things your nurses have told you.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's true because I've told people the things that you believe about your health.
Mm-hmm.
Things like it's genetic, it's just your age, it's your lab values, it runs in your family.
Oh, that's a big one.
Maybe you just need to buckle up your bootstraps and figure it out. These are all things that we have put on people, and it becomes a load of shame and guilt and hopelessness, really.
Yeah.
But that's what we're trying to help you understand is that knowledge is one of the foundational things when it comes to changing all of that. Just being aware. And so that's what these 7 days is about, helping you with the knowledge as well.
So when I coach women, one of the things that keeps coming up over and over again is feelings of unattractiveness. One woman said that she makes any excuse to send her husband out of the room before she gets dressed. She will not have the happy, happy time with the lights on. She just won't do it. If it's daytime, oh, I'm sorry for that. And so what happens is somehow the somehow we are actually taught by the media, by society, by the I see someone doesn't have that issue. You go, girl. By society that some of these changes are normal. And that the shame and the guilt from changing as a woman because you feel like you did this to yourself. In fact, I was watching a podcast and they had a panel of women and they were talking about their changes after 40. One of the things they said really it troubled me a bit because they talked about things that they should have done better in their youth. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Someone said I should have started exercising. I should have, drank more water. I wouldn't be in this position. But that's not the entire story. Some of the reason you're here is not because you didn't do this or you didn't eat the right things. It's because of things that were passed down to you.
Yeah.
It's because of traumas. It's because you had a baby and your body changed and no one showed you how you could rewire your body. So now you're 82 and you're thinking, I feel miserable. These are my highlight years. This is when I'm supposed to be enjoying life to its fullest, but I'm just sick and I'm miserable and I'm struggling. No one showed you that it's connected to those earlier days, but it's not hopeless for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to touch on one point that Annie mentioned, and that is stress.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when it comes to knowledge about stress, there are things that we often do not attribute to stress.
Yeah.
And a few of those things include anger.
Mm-hmm.
Anger is a stressor on the body.
Mm-hmm.
They did a study that 10 minutes of road rage equal to smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
That is an indication that anger is a stressor causing high cortisol levels in your body.
So good.
A couple other ones. Post-traumatic stress disorder,
Yeah.
PTSD. It's not just soldiers. Soldiers are not the only group of people that suffer from PTSD.
Mm.
Childhood trauma is a PTSD often. There's all kinds of things that can cause PTSD, even a bad divorce,
Mm.
even
So
just a
good.
bad car accident. These are all things that sit in the back of your subconscious and stimulate your adrenal system, your fight or flight system.
Mm.
So, for instance, in bad car accident, anytime you approach a stoplight that looks like the intersection where you got T-boned, your heart starts to race. You start to tense up. Maybe you slow way down. There's so many reactions that occur because of that environment. And I personally experienced that. The area that I drove through when I totaled my Suburban, every time I would go there for a while, my heart would start to race a little bit. I'd relive the whole thing.
Mm.
And so I understand how this affects the body from personal experience and from a scientific for knowledge base. And so what you need to do is really understand some of these little known areas that are stressors on
Mm.
your system that you may not have thought about. So, again, some of the knowledge that we're trying to help share with you on stress.
So we're going to do something really, really cool because, yeah, we can talk about all of this and it seems jumbled and mumbled, but we would rather show you than tell it to you. So I would like someone here who is brave. Remember, we are under HIPAA, so we're going to keep your personal information private. Also, listen, y'all, if you're on this call, we're going to ask you to do the same. Is there someone here who actually wants to go through the experience and kind of walk through a mini coaching session? You have questions. You're like, today I'm going to get my answers. Um, I'm gonna maybe exclude our accelerator group from this one because we're gonna meet after this. No worries to you. But if there's someone who wants to be brave, just raise your hand and then we can pick you and you can go through the coaching session. You can walk. walk through your connection of your dots, walk through your symptoms, walk through some of the things that are your inputs that may be adding to the symptoms. What do you not know that would change life for you? Let's see if there's one brave one. Someone who's like, today I am done with hypertension, with diabetes. I am done with we've got one. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Let's see, let's see, let's see. I don't see the hand anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, we've got like three brave ones. Maybe we might be able to get to two or three if we keep
Okay.
it a little light, but let's see. All right.
We'll go with Anna first.
All right, Anna's on top. So, and you can tell us your name or nickname.
Anna, go ahead.
Hi, my name is
If
Anna.
you can come
How
over
are
and
you?
if it's possible for us to see you, go ahead and turn your mic, I mean your video on as well. There we go. Awesome.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Anna.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So, I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
Okay, we can kind of lead you through this and say, okay, can you share what with us if there was one of your symptoms that you're like, hey, Annie and Joelle, if you could make this disappear tonight, this would be awesome. Now, we can't make it disappear tonight, but I'm saying, I want you to think of that one burning one that you're like, if y'all could make this disappear tonight, let's go. Let's go. We're gonna walk you through. And everyone else, just see what that process looks like for yourself.
So, my biggest thing would be kidney stones, recurring kidney stones all the time. And I know that I'm supposed to drink water, and I drink as much water as I possibly can, but they're always coming back. They're always coming
Mm,
back. I'm getting lithotripsies at least 2 to 3 times a year. That's my
Good.
biggest thing. They tell me, oh, stay away from the green, the leafy greens, the what do they may
mm,
call it? The
Oxalates.
mhm.
yes, that oxalate. So no chocolate, no coffee, no nuts, no beans. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to eat?
Yeah. Yeah. So how is your water intake?
So I was really good. I was trying to do like I heard someplace where like you take your weight, you divide it by 16, which equals the amount of water that you should be
Mhm.
drinking a
Right.
day, which was for me is like 13 or so cups of water a day. And I'm like, okay, I'm drinking water, but this is a little tad bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a formula that's easier than that one is just half your body weight in ounces is the starting point. Okay, so half your body weight, that's the amount of ounces that you want to drink as a starting point. If you have something that is uh, the core issue is hydration,
Mhm.
you really want to push that number up to about a gallon a day. I know it sounds like a lot, but what you want to do is put it into containers that don't look as intimidating as an entire gallon sitting on your counter.
Mhm.
Put it into water bottles that are pretty, that you can carry around, that keep a nice temperature. And then you want to drink mouthfuls through the day. Oftentimes
Mhm.
we chug, 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 and it just goes right through us.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to drink water. You want to take a few mouthfuls at a time and drink throughout the day. So spread that through the day. Um, so that is number one, is absolutely you do need to get your water up. However, you can also add things like lemon to it, a
Mhm.
little bit of sweetener, make a like a light lemonade from it, and
Just to
that
get the habit up.
just to get the habit up.
Because
Yeah.
that was going to be my follow-up question to look behind the that habit. There's like a difficulty. I sense like a tension. You're like, this water drinking, it's like so much. It feels overwhelming. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So we want to find out like what's behind that feeling of overwhelming amounts of water. Like, what's going on there? Is it the timings? Is it I have to wake up in the middle of the night and use the bathroom? Is it the taste of water? Is it some kind of history with water? Like, what's going on behind the overwhelming feeling? Because not everyone has that. And that's okay because again, we're finding the cause, the reasons behind your reasons. And once we can address that, oh, you'll be drinking water every day, no problem.
Yeah. So another question is, what other fluids do you drink? Sodas, anything like that throughout the day?
I I don't drink a lot of soda. If I eat out like fast food, I might get a container of like Sprite,
Yeah.
but it's very
Mhm.
seldom. I don't even buy it at the
Right.
house.
Yeah.
So mainly it would be like juice or water, pretty much iced
Okay.
tea.
Yeah. Okay. Iced tea. Okay. So iced tea can also be a source. What about as far as meat products? Do you eat any meat products?
I do. I
So red meats.
yes.
Yeah. So between the iced tea and the red meats, I would say those are the inputs that are probably stimulating a lot of your formation of kidney stones. So your kidneys are just like the catchment system in your
Mm-hmm.
kitchen sink. It's
Mm-hmm.
got a bunch of holes in it, catches all that food and stuff, so you can grab it out and dump it, when you're washing dishes. That's your kidneys for
Mm-hmm.
your body. And so, whenever your body has to filter something out, your kidneys have to catch it. All right. And kidney stones are when those holes in the catchment system just get plugged up and plugged up and plugged
Mm-hmm.
up, and then they solidify into a stone. And so, some of the toxic overload from meat products, especially red meats, do that on your kidneys. Very hard on the kidneys. So
Especially when there's already some kind of fracture. I want you to think of like, I don't know if you've had any children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and when a child has a arm that they've fractured, one of the things we say is, just be careful with that arm because it's easy to fracture it again. So that's why like health has to be so personalized because in your case, it's not just that you have to kind of be careful about some of these things we're talking about. And I'm sure there's more. If we had your health assessment, which we give, we would be able to kind of see, it would like jump out at us what those things are. But we have to say you have to be even double careful than most people because there's that fracture, there's that bent towards your kidneys getting those stones. You can overcome it, but it takes time, just like that fracture. You've got to be careful for X amount of time, just to make sure that it really heals before you can start enjoying life again and like dipping your toe in some of those tasty things. Because we believe in 80/20. We don't believe like, health should be like this rigid.
cold turkey, everything.
It's just not sustainable. Okay. And then it also makes relationships difficult. It makes going out on dates difficult. It makes, tension between families. So what you have to do is to learn to live in that balance and in the beauty of 80/20. But in your case, when it comes to the things that trigger the kidneys, you've got to step so far away from it just for some time to give that system time to recuperate, to heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of things that you can try. We don't want to overwhelm you. But
I
those are
know, because
just a
I
couple
was
of
thinking
things.
about more things. I'm
Yeah.
like, but no, no, I don't want to overwhelm you. But
Yeah.
definitely try those. Do you have any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so what about avoiding the oxalates? Should I still continue? Because I mean, a
Mm.
lot of those things that contain oxalate are healthy for you.
Right, right. You're going to see if you are able to step away from these major inputs that we identified, like drinking more water, and backing off of the red meats, meat products in general, but especially the red meats, that some of these other things are not going to bother you as
As
much.
much.
So just keep monitoring your recurrence of kidney stones. We'd be happy to continue working with you going forward, but just monitor the frequency and how you feel, and you'll see that start to decrease as you step away from these things that we've identified for you.
And it's not only food. I don't want you to think it's just food. It's not just food that is adding to this because your body, your blood chemistry is created from this, from what we eat, from things we put on our skin that are absorbed. And like again, the kidneys are just that catchment. They're the filters. It's like your coffee filter, right? So
Mhm.
it's all these inputs that are coming in from different places that are putting so much weight on your kidneys. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it's not food.
Yeah,
A food might be adding to it, but there might be something else.
there might be.
There might be an overload of hormones. I don't know if you've gone through any kinds of hormonal changes in your body, and hormones are dumped, like the body tries to get rid of it. All of that is like if you think of it as a trash system, and your kidneys are cleaning it out. So it may not just be the foods. I want you to think of a holistic picture and think, okay, where else am I not well? We talked about the one thing, the kidneys, but what else is going on in my body? Because those will give you clues, more blues clues, and a fuller picture to see what the causes really are. So tomorrow, what we're doing is finding the big three. And that's kind of what we're going to help you guys walk through so you know what your big three causes are.
Yeah, so good. Was that helpful, Aunt Anna?
Yes, thank you.
I'm so
So
glad.
good.
You're
So
welcome.
good.
We have time for one more, looks like. Cherry, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good, good.
So, my, well, am I telling you what my big issue
Yes,
is?
Let's go.
absolutely.
Let's go.
There are a few, and I'm
Okay.
managing some of them, but the thing that really takes me out is vertigo.
Ooh,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, it's vertigo. And I thought at one point that it was a side effect, and I'm sure it was because I don't. And since I dropped that particular med,
Mhm.
I don't get it as often, but I
Mhm.
still get vertigo. So I don't know. I looked at medication, and if it was a side effect of
Yeah,
the medication, I just didn't take it.
yeah.
But now it's just I don't know, and it seems like it'll no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, we'll just stick with the vertigo because I do have a
Okay,
little bit of migraine too. I had migraine headaches when I was in high school, and
okay.
all
Okay.
I do is get the aura. And for
Yeah.
me, the two are interchangeable, but it's the vertigo. When I wake up and can't even get out of bed and I'm stumbling all over the
Mhm.
place, it's like,
Yeah,
okay. So,
yeah. Do you take your blood pressure when those occur?
no.
Okay. That would be the first thing I would say to do is start
Okay.
taking your blood pressure next time you feel it, just to see. It may not be your blood pressure, but that's the first place you want to rule out.
Baseline.
Baseline.
Hmm.
Are you on any blood pressure medications?
Yes, amlodipine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that is key number two, is that any type of blood pressure medication you're on is designed to lower your blood pressure. And
Yeah.
sometimes your blood pressure is normal. It's not high.
Hmm.
Okay. And those medications are still affecting you during those times, which takes your blood pressure from normal to below
Too
normal.
low.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever you feel the vertigo, take your blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some inputs that really affect vertigo.
So good.
Hydration is the number one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So, like we said to Miss Anna, water, water, water.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The healthcare system, when we give you things, especially if you're prone to swelling, we tell you to stop drinking water
Or to reduce
or
it.
to
Yeah,
reduce water
for
intake.
sure.
But that's only because we're not here to teach you how to walk, how to move and circulate that fluid
Hmm.
appropriately. So we assume everybody's going to be a couch potato forever and they don't want to exercise. So if that's the case, cut back on your water.
Mm.
But we want to teach you how to move and circulate that
Mm-hmm.
water. So hydration is number one. Number two, stress.
Hmm.
And you mentioned migraines.
Yeah.
Migraines oftentimes are connected to stress. Headaches, hydration, and stress are the two number one causes. The two number one causes of headaches.
Yeah.
Because your brain is 80% water.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so any type of deficiency in your body with water goes straight to your head. And so then stress, cortisol is another vertigo
Yes.
causing hormonal dysfunction in some people. So,
So I wanted to see something that just happened here. Um, she started talking about her symptoms, and then she mentioned the medication. It's like, oh, I didn't want to take the medication, blah, blah, blah. Because if you would have come to us in a different setting and say, oh, this is what happens when I'm trying to get out of bed, we're like, here's the pill, there's the prescription. But we didn't find out why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it happening? And so now we're saying, okay, the first question he asks is, okay, is there some hypertension? Is there some blood pressure issues going on?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're looking behind the symptom. Because now we know that if it is because of the blood pressure and the medications, if we take care of that, this is gone. But then there's something behind the blood pressure. So now we've got to look behind that veil to see, okay, what's behind that blood pressure? Is it high cortisol? If it is, and we take that away, blood pressure is gone. So now we've gone boom, boom. Those two are gone. Then we say, why is the high cortisol happening? And that's when we get to the core, the real core. What's going on? So for some people, I feel lonely. My friends are dying. My my parents are gone. It's stressful to live with these symptoms in my health, knowing that any minute this and that can happen. I had a stroke. I might have a different one.
on that one,
Mhm.
I notice a lot of older generations starting to mirror the symptoms that are going on around them, and that's a stressor.
Yeah.
So you saw your neighbor suffer a stroke because she had a headache or high blood pressure
Hmm.
suddenly. And so now every time you have a headache or your blood pressure is a little high, stress rises,
Boom.
cortisol goes up, and
Boom.
you're having all of these feelings and you're like, what if I'm having a stroke?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that scenario
Yeah.
is very, very common
Yeah.
the older you get. And so you
Absolutely.
have to learn to address that in a very calm, from a rest place
But
within.
that takes
Peaceful.
knowledge.
It takes
That
knowledge,
takes
and
a
that
knowledge
that's
change.
why we're here.
Yes.
That's why we're
Is
here.
Hmm.
cortisol I don't know, what is it, an enzyme or something? Is that something that can be done by blood test? Because I don't remember that being part of the panel, of a chemistry panel.
Ooh, you know what? You just said something that I need to give you. This is a pro tip. Pro tip for my girls in
Mm-hmm.
here. Cortisol is a hormone.
Hormone.
And
Okay.
most times you go to your doctor, whoever your healthcare provider, most times for women, have you all seen in in the news, women's health is the worst in this beautiful grand country.
Mm-hmm.
Women are
Mm-hmm.
just ignored, they're dismissed, they're
Mm-hmm.
blah. You go with your symptoms, everybody's like, oh, we ran your labs, everything looks fine. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fine. I'm screaming at everybody, I'm not fine. This and that is going on. So you can actually ask for
Yeah.
your hormones to be read. You can ask for a hormone panel. That'll show you your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone. Don't
Right.
worry about these nerdy names. This is, but it just will show you levels that now whoever is looking at you can look at and say, ah, we found it. We
Okay.
found it. You don't always need the panels drawn because your body speaks louder
Mm-hmm.
than your labs.
Yeah.
Your symptoms are telling us your
Mm-hmm.
cortisol is high. And I noticed that when Joel is, telling you the scenario, you're like, yeah, yeah, because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have learned over the years to read your symptoms. We trust your body more than your labs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Was
you.
that helpful,
That was.
Sherry? All right.
All right. Awesome. Do we have room for maybe one more?
Maybe one more.
If someone wants to come on, one more, we could do one more and then we will let you go. I don't want anyone to be left behind like, hey, y'all, can you look at my. We're showing you how to connect the dots. And yes, it takes time and practice. Connie, is that your hand going up?
Let's unmute you there.
All right, go ahead and
Okay.
unmute.
All right.
There you go.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hey.
hey.
So, my biggest concern that I have now is high cholesterol. Um, the medication I take just causes everything to ache, my fingers, my knees, my ankles. And, and I had a conversation with my doctor just last week, and I was asking her if the medication, if I have plaque built up in my arteries already, the medication is not making that go away. It's just kind of covering it up, I think. And, she says, well, that's a question for your cardiologist. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll just send you a refill for your prescription to the pharmacy. So that part is getting frustrating now because I mean, do I take a chance and not feeling all this achy stuff
Right.
that like in my knees sometime in the morning, getting up can hardly walk, or being able to open the top of a bottle is just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great question.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations on entering a phase of detective work.
Come on.
You are examining and asking
Yeah.
why, and that is the biggest step most people never take.
Yeah.
So that is congratulations. You are well on your way.
Secondly, real quick, because we are nurses, licensed nurses, we cannot advise you about taking your meds or not because they will get us.
Right.
But we can tell you like advise like how we would do it, and for coaching clients, because we enter into an agreement, we're more free with that. But
how about I tell them a story about cholesterol? I'll do that.
Where you go.
So how cholesterol medications came about was there were a group of surgeons, heart surgeons, that began to notice a trend as the diet in America changed. We used to be hard working out in the fields and slaughter our own cattle and stuff. And then we transitioned to this fast food era, packaged foods, processed foods. And heart surgeons began to do autopsies on heart attack victims, and they saw in the arteries and veins this plaque, this buildup, right? And that's when they started to say, okay, this must be the culprit for the heart attacks that we're seeing an increase in. But unfortunately, that was like blaming firemen for the fire because they're always there. Okay. Just because they're always at the fire does not mean they started the fire.
Right.
So cholesterol is a hormone. It's a very important hormone. It is a building block for a lot of other hormones in your system. It is also a repair mechanism. So rather than being the cause of the heart attack, cholesterol was in those victims because the lining of their arteries and veins were damaged. It was damaged by their lifestyle, by stress, by alcohol, tobacco. Some of these lifestyle habits they had were making little micro damages in their vessels. And so cholesterol was there to patch that system up. So that's why cholesterol builds up in the veins and arteries. And so the statins are being prescribed to lower that cholesterol number without fixing the problem. Okay. So what we recommend for people is to start at the source, at the cause. What's causing the damage that's requiring your cholesterol to be produced at such high levels?
Boom. Boom.
Okay.
Your body is sending messages to itself to produce extra cholesterol. And listen, y'all, your body is your biggest cheerleader. It wants you to win. it wants you to win. And so it's like, I sense a problem here. Let me send some message somewhere.
Mm.
Let's fix things here. Boom, boom, boom. Cholesterol. Come on, come on. We need more cholesterol. Why?
Yeah.
Why do
Mhm.
we need more cholesterol?
Yeah.
And sometimes the way to manage the cholesterol is to remove foods that help it be replicated really, really fast. Egg yolks are some of them, especially if it's like super, climbing really, really high. And like you said, if arteries are getting blocked up and occluded, then it's like, okay, let's put the brakes on some of the things we just know cause an increase in cholesterol and are heavy in cholesterol as foods. And sometimes it's okay, let's find out why this cholesterol is not being used up. If you have any other kind of hormone issues, symptoms, thinning hair, chin hair, sticky weight, anxiety, depression, low moods, whatever, then we start to say, okay, what's missing for the other hormones to be built? Because clearly this cholesterol is not being used up.
Mhm.
So we're connecting the dots for you so that once we get to, okay, we fixed the use of the cholesterol and we've fixed the dumping in of the cholesterol. Now, boom, next time they draw your labs, it's like,
Yeah.
the
And
cholesterol's fine.
I'm a little more blunt when it comes to my clients.
Yeah.
We coach differently, but when I coach my clients on cholesterol, I say animal products and stress. Those are your two big targets. Once you get those things under control, start with 50% less animal products, meat, dairy, and then really being intentional about lowering your stress level. And we help you with that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about that throughout this week. But I hope those tips were helpful, Connie. And I know a
Yes.
lot of people struggle with cholesterol
Mhm.
problems. And so we'll touch on that more through the week. But thank
And this
you.
is why we
Okay.
work together.
Yeah.
Because he's like blunt and will shake you, and I'm like, wait, I'm gonna catch you, and we're gonna do this slowly and easily. But it's a win-win. It's a win-win
I
for
like the
you.
blunt.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for being brave and sharing. Thank you for being here tonight. This has been fun. Tomorrow we're talking about the big
The
three.
big three.
The
Can you
big
put
three.
the link, the group, so they can hop in and get their homework
Yes.
and get the replay?
Those of you that haven't joined the Facebook group, I'm going to put it in the chat because the replays will be in there. The homework is in there, and we can hang out in there too. If you guys have any other questions and stuff,
Absolutely.
we want you guys to be all a part of the family.
Tomorrow we find your personal big three. Girl, if you know somebody who can benefit from this challenge on this round where we're just giving it as a gift, bring them in. Bring them in tomorrow. We help them find their big three as well. It was beautiful serving you. While Joelle finishes up here, I'm going to slip out.
All right, and for those of you that are in our accelerator program, we are just getting started.
Okay.
We'll be sending you a text message here in just a few minutes, and you can join that Zoom group. Okay. For the rest of you, thank you so much for being here. Come out tomorrow night, same time, same place. Have a blessed night.